you're standing on today.
We are so excited for everybody to be here today for this awesome celebration for Tu B'Shvat, and we've been working with the Indigenous committee as well as our Jewish community group. And we have two awesome speakers for you today. So if you could go ahead and welcome Brett and Sam.
There we go. Hi, everyone. We gather today on the beautiful ancestral lands of the Washoe and Paiute people in the region of Reno and Tahoe. As we come together in collaboration and partnership, thank you, Sam, we acknowledge with gratitude the enduring stewardship of the Washoe and Paiute people who have cared for and nurtured this land for countless generations. We're going to take a break so Miguel can translate.
En las hermosas tierras ancestrales de los pueblos Washoe y Paiute en la región de Reno y Tahoe. Al reunirnos en colaboración y asociación, reconocemos con gratitud la administración duradera del pueblo Washoe y Paiute, que ha cuidado y nutrido esta tierra durante incontables generaciones.
Tu B'Shvat, a festival marking the start of spring, reminds us of the profound connection between humanity and nature. For the Washoe and Paiute people, the arrival of spring heralded a time of renewed life, abundant with the promise of growth and sustenance. They harvested plants for both food and medicine, utilizing every part with reverence and admiration for the earth's gifts.
Tu B'Shvat, un festival que marca el inicio de la primavera, nos recuerda la profunda conexión entre la humanidad y la naturaleza. Para los pueblos Washoe y Paiute, la llegada de la primavera perseguía una época de vida renovada, llena de promesas de crecimiento y sustenencia. Cosechaban plantas como alimento y medicina, utilizaban cada parte con renovación y administración por los regalos de la tierra.
Throughout history, Native Americans have held a deep respect for trees, recognizing their multifaceted importance as sources of sustenance, shelter, tools, and ceremonial aids. From the sturdy bark used for homes to the tender paper bark cradling infants, from the fibrous strands woven into fishing lines to the nourishing fruits and leaves, trees provided for every aspect of life.
A lo largo de la historia, los nativos americanos han tenido un profundo respeto por los árboles, reconociendo su importancia multifacetada como fuentes de sustento, refugio, herramientas y ayudas ceremoniales. Desde la resistencia corteza utilizada por los hogares hasta la tierra corteza del papel, que acuna a los niños desde las hierbas fibrosas, tejidas en hilos de pescar hasta los nativos frutos y hojas. Los árboles precaucionaban todos los aspectos de la vida.
As we reflect on this rich tapestry of knowledge and tradition, we honor the wisdom of the Washoe and Paiute people and all indigenous communities who have lived in harmony with the land. May we continue to learn from their deep respect for nature and strive to be mindful stewards of this precious earth.
Al reflexionar sobre este rico tapiz de conocimiento y tradición, honramos la sabiduría de los pueblos Washoe y Paiute y de todas las comunidades indígenas que han vivido en armonía con la tierra.
Thank you so much for that beautiful land acknowledgement. So for my speech is a little bit longer, so we're going to have a Spanish summary at the end to celebrate our shared cultural traditions and love of the world around us and within us. I truly hope that this is an important marker in Patagonia's continued commitment towards environmental justice and solidarity. So thank you, my friends, too, for all coming out here today. For you have me here to share with you one of our oldest cultural traditions going back for thousands of years. Many of you may have listened to the virtual event that was held in January for the Tu B'Shvat, which is when the holiday normally is. And for those of you who didn't, I highly encourage you to give it a watch or a listen and be able to get a more in-depth glimpse into why we're here today. However, for those who didn't, the long and short of Tu B'Shvat is that it's a millennia-old cultural practice where we honor the life cycles of the earth and fruit-bearing trees by marking a birthday for them on our lunar agricultural calendar. This was part of a larger agricultural cycle that centers around community care and environmentalism. To truly celebrate this, though, we need to understand what is the mindset we should be going in for an event like this. So in Jewish culture and in many other cultures, we love stories. So as we think that they hold great wisdom, so I'd like to start off with one. So there once was a young man. He was in a tremendous amount of debt. He had lost hope, as many times he had tried to pull himself out of a hole and he just couldn't. So he had lost his wonder, his appreciation for the world around him. Then one day, someone suggested to him to make a journey. The journey would take him to the door of a Kabbalist, which is a Jewish mystic, and they said, maybe this guy will be able to help you. So one day he journeyed far to meet this Kabbalist and told him of his troubles. The Kabbalist, who again is a mystic, he's supposed to know the inner workings of the universe, said a few words and then did something strange. He handed him 40 toy cars. And he told the young man to take them, spread them 6 feet apart in a lot, kind of like this. And after that, he was to go into a nearby house of assembly where he was going to say a special set of words. And then upon emerging, he was going to open up a sealed envelope, which he handed to him. And he placed that envelope in the man's hand. The man was a little skeptical, but desperate. He decided to try it. So he spaced out the cars. He went into the house of assembly and said what he needed to say, and upon emerging, found to his surprise 40 full-sized cars in the lot. He opened the note and it merely said, "These are yours, sell off the cars to pay your debt." He thought, this is wondrous, how could this happen? And it was like, wow, I must be really going off my rocker. So when he told the story, because he's like, this is so crazy, a man in town answered, "If this is wondrous, tell me, how is it any less wondrous that when you plant a small seed, it grows into a mighty tree that produces food that perfectly matures so that you can eat it to sustain yourself and the world around you? You ask how wonders can happen, but if you only look, wondrous things are happening around you all of the time." So it's a strange tale, which we may or may not choose to believe, but the townsperson in this story seems to speak to all of us in this day and age. Thanks, guys. He invites us to reconsider how we look at our day-to-day. I think many of us in American society, when we look at our lives, we think that this is some sort of reliable cog, right? I'm going to get up, I'm going to go to work, I'm going to come home, I'm going to do this stuff. And a lot of us just we take for granted that this is going to come day by day, that we're going to have our cars to drive us and even food to eat. But instead, the Jewish perspective asks us, and many other cultural perspectives, I would say, to come to view life as a living and breathing system in which each moment is constantly being created, filled with wonder. So wonder, let's think about that word for a second. What is wonder? So wonder has 3 main definitions. The first is a feeling of surprise that's mingled with admiration caused by some beautiful, unexpected, unfamiliar, or inexplicable thing. 2 is a desire to be curious, to know something. And 3 is a feeling of doubt, which is interesting that all of this can be held in one word. Many of us in this day and age, I think, feel number 3. We're doubtful of our futures and doubtful of what everything holds for us with climate change and the way that we're treating our environment. But we in Judaism feel that we have to live in the moment and that we can easily turn doubt from the third feeling into the desire to know, and then from the desire to know into that feeling of being surprised, of being in awe. So every little thing is said to contain a certain amount of wonder, which is where we can start. If there is a secret inside of everything yearning to be recognized, revealed, and even seen, it's so easy for us to be able to get to that third stage of wonder and appreciate the beauty of our existence, including the environment that sustains us. If we think about it, this idea is relatable, right? We've seen sunsets, oceans, high peaks, hummingbirds, the beautiful river that runs near this campus. Many of us engage in outdoor sports, I'm assuming if you work at Patagonia, where we have those moments between nature and us that feel, transcendent. Contact with nature makes us feel that we are standing in the presence of something greater than ourselves, and maybe also that we're part of something larger, a web of becoming, if you will. Whatever one's philosophy is about the natural world, there's a very simple Jewish way of turning doubt into appreciation and admiration. And that is the practice of saying words of thanks for natural phenomena. This practice helps enhance our perception of the earth, its wonder, as a witness and a mystery. So when does one do this? Because I think, though they say that gratitude is supposed to, grateful for my hair again. In Jewish culture, we basically really focus our words of thanks a lot of the times around natural wonders. So this includes the blessings for great beauty or magnitude, rainbows, mountains, thunder, lightning, and earthquakes. For me, like as a Jewish person, even just coming to see this scale, I'm supposed to say a special words of thanks when I see this, just to be able to sit in mindfulness and appreciate what is becoming in front of me. So mindfulness for the world around us, is seeing of how precious the natural world is, makes us conscious of our gratitude for all that we have and are. And they remind us that we are not separate from nature. We consume it, we appreciate it, and at the same time, by consuming it and being in it, we are it. By giving words of thanks, it is to say that remember, the trees are not machines. They are a part of you. They are alive beyond serving humans. You cannot just use them as they want, just as you would not abuse yourself. They have an independent existence that, though entwined with you, we will respect as another person. So it goes beyond serving humans. Respect it. Respect it, respect it. So now, in order to kind of ground this practice out, one of the things that we like to do in Judaism is we like to have what's called a Seder, which just means order, and it seeks to combine food and words of thanks in order to create an immersive mindful practice. For our friends who don't wish to eat right now, especially those who are celebrating Ramadan, please feel free to have a to-go plate for later, but you can still join us for the mindfulness component of this Seder. So one of the things that you'll notice is that the words of thanks are on there, on the table. And you'll notice they're really nothing complicated. We just have different categories so that you know what to say. Like, thank you for the fruit of the earth. Thank you for the fruit of the tree. But in this, we really are able to take a moment. Instead of us having to hurriedly eat our food in between our shifts and worrying about what's coming next, you can really sit and be grateful and just acknowledge the fact that it's whoa, this food, as just as the townsperson said in the story, this food came from a tree that had a fruit that ripened to perfection just so that I could sit here and be eating this today. How amazing is that? Think about that. What if we lived in a world where that didn't happen? What would we do? So I invite you all, if you want to grab a plate and say some words of thanks with us, or if you just want to say the words of thanks now and grab a plate later, I'd like to kind of lead you through this exercise and explain to you some of the food that you can grab over there. So we have different categories. And the first food item that we have over there that I want to share with you is pine nuts. Now, in Jewish culture, we do have certain foods that are very special to us and that we consider sacred. But what we wanted to do is, since we are here in Reno and we have other indigenous cultures who have great wisdom and knowledge, we wanted to ask the Indigenous Committee if they had certain foods that they wanted to bring into the Seder. So I first want to start with pine nuts, as pine nuts are a food that are indigenous to the land, and as you will see, we will be planting a pinyon pine tree in solidarity to respect that. So about the fact that that tree is nourished by this land that you're standing on today that allows you to live and work here at Patagonia, and just really sit in that, just for a few seconds if you can. have on the Seder plate is going to be corn, which is for us is mezonos, which is grain. And grain's like very important to many different cultures, right? And I know, like, especially for, I think of like the Quiche Maya, when it comes to corn, they believe that the human is actually made of corn, right? So we see that not only in Jewish culture, but also in different indigenous cultures. You have it where it's like grains are so thoroughly embedded that we know that it is part of what sustains us and even makes us up. So for corn, it's just going to be, thank you for all that sustains us, all that sustains us. And again, this is all written on the table. So if you want to go and you want to take these things and you want to say a few words of thanks, sort of just have your mindfulness exercise, hopefully it can bring you a little bit closer, not only to the cultural traditions that we all share, but also, again, just to the earth and the land that you are currently on. And respect that, and respect all of the people who have informed us, our ancestors from long ago. Thanks so much, you guys.
En colaboración con la gente indígena, la comunidad judía celebra sus tradiciones, culturas y profunda conexión con la naturaleza de la tierra. Este momento significativo, el compromiso continuo de Patagonia. Hoy compartirán las tradiciones más antiguas, una tradición que se extiende a lo largo de miles de años. En enero, durante el evento virtual, exploramos el significado de Tu Bishvat. Esta tradición de milenios honra los ciclos virtuales de la tierra y los árboles frutales marcando sus cumpleaños. En el cuidado de la comunidad y la conexión medioambiental, esta celebración con una mentalidad consciente. En la tradición judía, expresar gratitud por fenómenos naturales es una práctica sencilla pero profunda, ya sea antes o después de la comida o mediante una reflexión consciente. Reconocemos la maravilla, el testimonio y el ministro de la tierra. Al dar las gracias, reconocemos nuestras interconexiones con la naturaleza y honramos su existencia independiente más allá de la mera utilidad. Robaremos las 7 especies acompañándonos a la ceremonia colectiva de gratitud, un ceder en la colaboración, comida y palabras de agradecimiento. Un ceder que significa orden, crea una práctica consciente e inmersiva. Quienes no coman ahora pueden llevarse un plato si están durante Ramadán. Estas sencillas palabras de agradecimiento revelan las maravillas de las cosas que a menudo damos por hecho. Pan, damos gracias por el pan de la tierra. Granos, damos gracias por todas las virtualidades de subsistencias. Vino, damos gracias por el fruto de la vina. Fruta, damos gracias por el fruto del árbol. Verduras, damos gracias por el fruto de la tierra, por todas las cosas que han llegado a ser. Gracias.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. And Brett and Sam, thank you so much for those beautiful words. I would like to let you all know that we will be planting our adorable little pinyon tree. It will be over there where you see the cones. We'll be doing that at 2:30, right after you guys go ahead and enjoy your foods and your Seder, and please help yourself to some wine. And again, thank you so much for everybody being here.